Hey everyone, welcome to Queerly Recommended, the podcast where we recommend queer books, films, TV shows, and more. I'm Tara Scott. I review sapphic fiction at the Lesbian Review and Smart Bitches Trashy Books. And this week I am recommending a video game, an indie that was released earlier this year.
And I'm Kris Bryant, a contemporary romance writer for Bold Strokes Books. And this week I'm recommending a reality TV show on Netflix.
As always, we just want to take a minute to thank everyone who supports the show, whether through our coffee, signing up for the newsletter. We do have links to both in there. Thank you for the reviews and ratings on the podcast apps. And if you want to do one more thing, please just tell a friend about the show if you think they need queer media recommendations. So, Kris.
Yes.
You checked on the status of the Hollywood strikes. And for people that aren't familiar, just as a reminder, until the WGA and the SAG-AFTRA strikes are over, we're not covering struck work. Struck work means any work that was created under the current contracts, because they're trying to negotiate for new contracts. And of course, because SAG hasn't had a strike since the 1960s, that means basically any scripted TV shows or movies that have happened since then. How are they going?
Yeah. So I checked on the status and it looks like there is no end in sight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, some of the not reality shows, but like the talk shows, the daytime talk shows, some of those
Yes.
are starting up. And I know that Drew Barrymore had a lot of backlash
Yes, didn't
starting
she get
up.
disinvited from hosting some kind of an
Yes,
awards show or something?
right. Yeah, and then I wish I would have read up on it more about what happened with her, but she ended up, doing a mass apology and saying that she was going to hold off on the season opener too. So, I think that's good. We're trying to support and get more for the writers who, like you said, really haven't had anything good happen since we've been alive. So
the writers, yeah, that's the actors. The writers strike more often, which is good, but it was interesting to see because I saw some of that too. A lot of the talk shows are coming back. So Drew Barrymore, I think, was the first to announce it.
right.
And then it's like really rapidly kind of announced that like The Talk, The View, Kelly Clarkson, a lot of them are coming back, and they say they're doing it without their writing staff.
Right.
The one that I think is especially interesting and is also causing some controversy is Bill Maher is bringing his back. And I mean, I think Bill Maher is a colossal asshole anyway, but he said, we really want to respect the strike. So no monologue, no jokes. No, it's just going to be strictly like a panel discussion. But Bill Maher is a member of the WGA.
Oh, wow.
So...
Plus, does he even think on his own? I mean, doesn't he need writers to put those thoughts? I'm sure he's smart, but a lot of the stuff is written for him.
Because he is a writer, he for sure is scabbing.
Yeah, that sucks.
It's not even a question. So yeah, it's pretty gross, but we're going to keep doing what we're doing. We're going to continue with documentaries. Video games are still fair play as of the day that we're recording this, September 17th. Right. I did see that the voice actors in video games may end up striking as well at some point. And if that happens, then I'll stop covering games that have voice acting. But yeah, hopefully y'all love documentaries and reality shows.
I mean, I did see that some of the networks are actually teaming up with the streaming services that actually created shows themselves, and they are putting them on their networks for like season openers, season starters.
Oh, that's interesting. Did you also see the Taylor Swift's concert movie and what happened with that? It was super interesting. So the way she did it is extremely in solidarity with the striking because she skipped the studios. It was all produced kind of by her teams. And instead of going and selling it to the studio who would then distribute it, they went directly to AMC.
Oh,
So so for the folks that are outside of the US, AMC is they're movie theater chain, right?
right. The biggest probably
Yeah.
that we have. Yes.
And it's making so much money.
It is. It's breaking
And
records.
so I think where it's really interesting is that it's sort of showing, do we need studios?
Mm,
Like, studios do pay for things to be produced, but I kind of love that the way she did it gave such a middle finger and showing you're gouging. There
mhm.
are other ways to do this. It helps with distribution. I mean, is an indie film production crew going to be able to get the same reach that they would without being picked up by,
Right.
say one of the big studios? Probably not. But I wonder if, the corporate greed is going to lead to some interesting options around getting your content out there in a way that's sustainable and everybody can get paid and that it works. So, yeah.
Right.
Did you have anything else new happen this week?
No, I'm just like slipping into my new job or the new role, responsibility.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
How's
yeah,
that going?
so it's
Boss
going really
Chris,
well.
boss
You
Chris.
know, I got to like unleash the beast, so to speak. And it was kind of fun-ish because I got to flex a little.
Mhm.
So got an answer to something that we had been waiting months on. And after hounding this person, we finally got our answer. So it's very tedious and it's very, oh, I have to remember to do this and oh, I have to remember to do that. So there's a lot of things up in the air. I'm juggling quite a bit. So, but it's going well. I think it's going well. It's
Mhm.
just taking a lot of my time. And
Yeah.
why do I have to go in the office every day?
Do you have to go to the office every day?
There are so many meetings, it's insane. Like, there's so many meetings that I don't even need to be a part of, but because I'm now in this upper branch, I have to go to all the
Mm.
meetings, and I don't
Mhm.
it's just kind of a waste of my time because it really doesn't matter what I say or do. I'm just there as a person. Like, I'll just say, "Oh, yeah, that's great. Oh, I don't like that idea," and that's it. Or
Mm.
I say nothing at all. So just invite me to the meetings where, like, my opinion's gonna matter and make a difference, and omit me from meetings that don't involve me.
Yeah. That's not
So
fun.
and then
I used to work with somebody who used to, like, as a meeting request came in, it was kind of one of those like, "Ooh, you're spicy," but also, like, I kind of admired it. She would send back a note saying, "What is this about?" Just to interrogate, like, "Do I actually need to be here? I'm
right.
not sure this is a good use of my time." And I've never seen anybody do that before. And it was like, so I mean, maybe you could take some inspiration from my spicy former coworker and
I
just
could
start
do
asking
that.
people, "What's this? Why do I need to be here? Like, do I need to be here? What if I live my life somewhere else,
Right.
not here in this meeting where you don't need me?"
Well, I went on Friday. So my days I work from home are now Monday and Friday.
Mhm.
And I have yet to experience that schedule because there have been meetings. And so Friday's meeting got canceled and nobody told me. So I walk in and I'm hanging out. And then at 10 o'clock, I'm like, hey, when's this meeting happening? Like, oh, we canceled it. We're sorry. I'm like,
Wait,
what?
is there not like a calendar that everybody on the office is on? So
There is a
the
calendar and they just didn't cancel it. Very
rude.
rude. So I was like, fine. Okay. So I left at lunchtime. I took a late lunch because then I noticed like okay, so this kind of falls into what's been going on with me. So I'm
Mhm.
just gonna like lead into that.
Mhm.
So for example, like one of the things I've been watching lately is football, American football, because it's back on.
Mhm.
And you know
Mhm.
how big of a football hog I am. I love it. And so one of my passions is collecting football cards.
Mhm.
And I think I mentioned that before.
You
We've talked about the
did. Yeah,
football
you talked
cards.
about it recently.
So I was waiting on a pack of football cards and it was going to be delivered to my office. And so it's kind of like when I got the info that the meeting had been canceled, I was like, shit. And then and then I got notification that I was getting a package. I was like, ooh. So I waited around for this package, but it didn't show up until much later. And then one of the admin people, actually, she doesn't live very far from me. So she
Mhm.
took it home and I picked it up Friday night. So
So sweet.
anyway, but I also found out that the card company was fired by the NFL. So now I'm wondering,
Are they legit?
well, they're legit. They've been doing it forever. I'm just wondering if the value of my cards, because of Panini, I'm wondering if they are still going to have value. I mean, I think that they will, because it's about the player, not necessarily about the card. If you have a player's rookie card, regardless of who it is,
Uh-huh.
whether it's, like, it's weird because, like, baseball cards are, most people think of like Upper Deck or Tops for baseball cards, but those companies also do football cards, but they're not nearly as cool as the Panini cards. So I
Mhm.
don't know what's going on in my football card world. I don't really know.
I don't know either. You could have just been telling me about the different parts of the tarot deck, and I would have
And you would have been
understand
like, "What?
equally
Sure,
as well.
yes." Yes, and so let's go back to what, so I have been watching football. My team lost the first game, which has never happened with this quarterback. In the
Whoa.
first, like, in September, we've never lost a game with this quarterback. And let me start off also by saying that it's been very stressful for my team
Yeah.
because we had a player hold out for money, and he is a
Uh,
very big player for us, and the whole stress of, will he be back in time for the season opener? Will he not be back in time? And
mhm.
he's a defensive player, so we were all stressed about that because our defense sucks and we need him. And then our tight end, our offensive player, the best player, tight end that's ever played the position, Travis Kelce, got hurt, and so he missed the first game. So we went in not knowing if he was going to play until like that day. I think it might have
Mhm.
been the day before when they called it that he wasn't going to play. So, like, we were all really sad going into this game because we were like, we had the whole stress of, trying to sign this guy, and then our main guy getting hit and getting hurt during practice. So it's been very stressful. So we sucked the first game, and hopefully this game everybody's back healthy and we're going to
Yes.
do well.
Good
Anyway, so
luck,
I've been
Chris's
watching.
team.
Yes, thank
Good
you.
luck.
My
Also,
Chiefs. Woo!
man, I can't believe I managed to keep a straight face while you said tight ends twice in a row, because
Right.
each time in my head was just butts.
Let me tell you. So football is very, like, this, some of the stuff they say, whew, if you're
It's
not
a
following
little
the
it is a little
it's
bit of homoeroticism
there's a
that we're
lot
not
going
talking
on there.
about.
Right. And so I try to, like, maintain a straight face when I watch these, and I listen to the commentary, just the whole entire
Mhm.
commentators, what they say and how they say it. It's just like, come on.
Yeah, do
Think of
you
a
hear
better way to
yourself?
say squirt, you know? Oh, he squirted through. I'm like,
Did
so
he though?
I don't want to know.
That
I
sounds
just
personal.
I just want to know, did he get the first down? That's all I want to know. So I have been watching a lot of football, and
Mhm.
I'm still watching Alone. Guess what? It's back. It's back.
Yay!
I don't know where it went for 2 weeks, but it's back.
Mm.
So now they have survived 11 days. There are 6 people left, with one dropping out. Like, the very tail end of this episode, this last episode, they were
Mhm.
calling in, they were tapping out. That's what they do.
Mhm.
They call in, they say, "Hey, I'm tapping out." And it's still a horrible place where they are in Australia. Still a horrible place,
Uh-huh.
and people should not try living there. And if there was an apocalypse, I can guarantee you the people will not be living on the shore. They would be moving inland and trying to, like, work inland, trying to figure some
Mm.
system out, because it is awful. Like, it is not, people should not live there. And, like, the
Mhm.
rivers, I say rivers, like the little lakes, the little
Mhm.
inland things, they it's full of dead trees. So, like, you could die, you can impale yourself
Oh,
like
jeez.
2 feet in, and you would, like, if you slip in the water, you could, like, die because there's a bunch of dead trees at the bottom. This place is horrible. Like,
Holy shit.
it's funny. I was like, oh, a bunch of pansies, like, tapping out early, but oh my gosh, like, it's horrible. It's horrible. And so what else? Well, I still haven't found my muse. Like,
Where is she?
I don't know. I was supposed to start writing this book September 1st. That was the deadline I gave myself.
Mhm.
And I have barely cracked open the laptop. So I'm probably going to
Mhm.
have to add or ask for an extension. Although I did wake up thinking about it today. So at least I know that there's
Ooh.
some little spark that's in there that makes me, okay, all right, I'm still gonna write this book. It's just it's a little struggle. It's a
Taking a little
struggle.
time. Well, maybe your muse was just doing a little nap while you were starting this new job.
That could be it too. That could be it.
Mhm.
So, and I need to quit binging everything, and I need to actually buckle down and get to it. So
Mhm.
that is what I have been watching and doing. What about you?
All right. So, since we last spoke where I brought up the new Drag Race Down Under series, it finished. Hooray!
Oh, yay.
And the person who won, it's funny, there were some seasons where I complained, especially recently, that like it was just so clear who was going to
Right.
win all the way through. And I think the winner, and I mean it's out there now, so we're not going to spoil anything, was Ivis, what is her name? Iris Avis Loren, I think. And from the very beginning, this queen was one of the strongest, but at the same time, it was such a strong group that I wasn't actually sure at first who was going to win. And if I look at like who I thought in the first episode, okay, I think the top 4 is probably going to be these people. She was in it, but I'm not sure the other 2 necessarily would have been in it for me.
Mm,
So it was really interesting in the sense that I could not predict who the top 4 were going to be. There were some people that ended up being way better than I thought. Like one of the people in the top 3 showed up in the first episode in like her garments. It was all done out of yarn. And it was like, what the fuck is happening here? And then you find out later on because she admits she wanted everyone to underestimate her. And so showed up looking totally bonkers and then just had this incredible growth trajectory. So it was, I don't know, I thought it was a fun season.
mm.
I saw, I can't remember which publication in Australia that was talking about it not being great, but I was like, I don't know, man. Like if you compare it to that first season, it's way better. Second season I quite liked, but it was good. In terms of where I'm at with Alone, I finished
Mm.
the first season.
Yay. What'd you
I
think of the
st-
winner? Ah,
so it was who I thought was going to win,
okay.
actually. Now I do think it helped that I've already asked you, what do you think it takes to win? And your answer was gain 40 pounds. Because when you look at the 2 guys that made it to the final 2,
Yeah.
they were too, I wouldn't say either of them were fat, and even if they were, I wouldn't care. Like
Right.
it's,
They fluffed up.
I think fat is a neutral term, but they did have some extra weight on them so that they actually had something to
Mhm,
lose as they
mhm.
were going along, because there were some people who didn't necessarily have that. And
Right.
I think the thing that was so interesting for me towards the end was seeing the people, like nobody got pulled from the season.
Okay.
So it was all people either saying, I mean, there was one guy who had to go because he was drinking contaminated water. He started hallucinating. Like as soon as he's in his tent and he's like shivering, he's like, I see lights. I'm like, you gotta go home, my dude. You're fucked. Like, this is not okay.
Yeah.
Um, but towards the end, it was mostly people saying, yeah, I think I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, what do I have to prove? I think this is fine. And it just made me wonder, like, did they know in this first season that there was $500,000 on the line?
They
But I
had to
think,
have.
yeah, I would hope so. But I think that's where it works, that they have no idea where they're at. Like, they don't
Right.
know if they're
Mhm.
first out, they don't know if they're second last out. And getting to see some of those guys find out, because this was one of the seasons where a lot of people tapped out very quickly because of the animals, which, like, fair enough. You're in
Right. But that's a
northern
you know
Vancouver Island
better.
in BC. Well, yeah, right? So like the guy on the first episode saying, I'm never going home, and then a bear is literally brushing on his tent and he's like, fuck this, I got
Right.
kids. And so it was like bear, wolves, bear,
Is there a Wolverine in this one?
hallucinating,
Oh, bear
bear.
hallucinating.
There was like 3 or 4 people that left because of bears. Oh, there was
Bill
cougar.
so, like, that's the whole thing. It's like, the whole struggle between structure and food. Like, if you have bears and you know that there are active bears in the area, like, hey, guess what? Maybe not just have a tarp for a shelter. Maybe you like use some like, wood and build a
Yeah.
shelter, and
Yes.
then like spend 3 days and build a really good shelter. Use the stored energy and your body fat for that, and
Mhm.
then go looking for food. Like in a situation like that, if you're just like on a
Yeah.
beach somewhere, like nothing's going to kill you. Yeah, maybe do some fishing and get some food before you set up a permanent
Mhm.
shelter. But yeah. And you'll notice in the future alones, like all the people who are super fit,
Mhm.
like, yeah, no, you need to bulk up for this. You need to have the extra pounds that you can lose later,
Oh, yeah.
for
There's
sure.
definite definite concerns for some of those people. I felt really sad, though, when I started the 2nd season. Well, I mean, I was excited to see that, holy shit, there's actually women on this
Yeah!
season, and it sounds, if we're willing to trust, people on Reddit saying they used to work with one of the people, like, one of them was maybe trans, which is kinda cool. Although, unfortunately, that contestant passed away because I was like, "Oh, we should interview her." We can't.
Yeah,
She's
no.
no longer here. But they also had the first Black contestant. I almost
Mhm.
said character. These are not characters, they're people.
They are people.
And he had to go home in the first episode because there were so many bears in his area, and it was like, that almost felt unfair. Like, I get that it's sort of one of those, like, the campsites are what they are, and you get what you get, and you
Right.
don't get upset, and if there's too many animals, you go home.
Mhm.
But I just thought it was a shame that, like, finally we have the first, because the first season is nothing but straight white dudes,
Yeah.
and if they're not straight, they're not talking. Um, lot of white Christians on the first season. It's like, "Oh, these are the people who will be able to make it during the water wars." But yeah, it's fun. I don't know. I still like it. But I
It is
did
fun.
I did take a pause on it to watch your recommendation. So I will hold my thoughts
Oh,
on your
until we talk about mine.
recommendation
Woo!
for that part. And then I started reading. I wanted a bedtime book. And so if I'm going to have a bedtime book, it needs to be something that's going to be fun and not like, I don't want a book that's going to really challenge me. I don't want a book that's going to I don't want it to be the book that I'm going to be raving about for the next 2 years, right? Like, I don't want it to
Right.
be the next Seven Husbands of
That keeps
Evelyn
you up at night.
Hugo or
Yeah, it keeps you up
yeah,
at night,
yeah,
right.
exactly. I don't know. I need a book that I really enjoy and I look forward to reading every night, but also I can put down when I realize I'm too sleepy and my Kindle starts hitting my face. Um, and so I thought I would give the book The Bodyguard Affair by Anna Stone and Hildred Billings a chance, and it's kind of perfect for that. It's super fun, but again, not, life-changing. That's totally fine because I think there's like a time and place for all kinds of books. And this is fulfilling exactly what I need. And so there's one character, Bianca, she's 22, I think. She's extremely pampered. You can see the way her mom treats her. They're from like she's in the wealthiest family in Seattle, and her mom is treating her like she's a little bubble girl
Mm.
because she's her baby, but also she has type 1 diabetes, and it's like, "Okay, listen, rich lady, do you know that type 1 diabetes is a thing that we know how to live with now? Because the way she treats this girl, ooh, ooh, you would think she was 13 and not 22."
Mhm.
But her mom says that she has to have a personal bodyguard, and she
Mm.
won't tell her why. And Bianca is like, "Are you fucking kidding me? I already have to live in a condo directly below your condo. Like, I don't want anybody following me around." And she said, "Okay, fine. If you're gonna make me do this, I get to choose." And she's like, "Fine, fine, fine. You get to choose." So she meets with the CEO of the company that her mom is hiring from, who of course is this, super hot woman. And she's like, "It's you. You will be my bodyguard." And she's like, "I don't do that anymore." And she says, "But you will." And guess what?
She
She will.
does.
She does. And she's actually only 30. So former military, didn't want to do military anymore, builds up this bodyguard firm. I like to think of it as like pretty fantasy world almost. Like it's set in our world, but kind of in that, like, okay, that a 30-year-old is able to set up this kind of a company and be doing this
It's
well.
like,
Like
yeah.
it's fun. It is the kind of book where like you read it and you can kind of feel your fantasy. I'm only I think 15 or 20% in. So I have no idea still why the mother has hired a
Oh,
bodyguard for
okay.
her daughter, and I want to know. And because it's also interesting, it does flip between the perspectives as the two leads.
Mm.
And so Sam is the hot bodyguard and at one point has this almost annoyed with Bianca because Sam knows what the threat is, but I don't think she yet knows that Bianca doesn't.
Okay.
know what's going on, and so has this, like, "What the fuck is up with this super hot spoiled brat?" But, like,
Mm,
super hot, but she's spoiled, and it's
yeah.
well, she doesn't know. All she knows is her mom doesn't want her to leave the house without somebody following her. So I think there's something really interesting there with her knowing she has to have a bodyguard, not knowing why she has to. And I think it's playing with I think that is the element that's playing with all the dynamics and making it interesting. So, yeah, if you want a romance that's really fun, not going to change your life, but you might enjoy it, this could possibly be a good one.
Are you
I
done
have
with it?
no.
No.
No, I'm like I said, I think I'm about 15, maybe 20% in.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
missed
I'm
that
not
part.
even
Sorry.
close to halfway. I'm just far enough in to know that, like, they each like the look of the other one.
Mm.
And, like, it would be more ideal for Sam if she was not having to protect Bianca, because she would love to bang her immediately if she could. Alright, so Chris, what
Yes.
is your official recommendation this week?
Woohoo! Okay, my official recommendation is Glow Up season
Woo!
5. Ding dong, baby.
Ding dong. Delicious.
Yes. So, you know what I love about this show is that
Everything?
it's really for everyone. It really
Yes.
is. It's very positive. Unlike a lot of reality shows, you have, one judge that's, like a total jerk, like, you suck. Why are
Yeah.
you here? Your food sucks or your artwork sucks or whatever, get out of here. It's
Mhm.
not like that. It's extremely positive. They will point out if there's something wrong, but they do it so delicately,
Yes,
and it's
with
just
kindness.
right,
Yes, yes,
with
yes, because they will
kindness.
be hard on them. Like, if they
Right,
know that a contestant can do better, they'll
right.
call them out and they will be a little hard on them, but it always feels like it comes from a loving place.
It really does. Like, these people really care. Like, everyone is so passionate about makeup,
Yes.
and it's not about application. I mean, it is, but it's about art. It's about the art of
Yes.
makeup, and that's the
Mhm.
difference. Most people are like, "Oh, this looks, this isn't for me. It's all about makeup or fashion or whatever." The thing is you really become invested in these artists and how they express themselves from, like, every episode. You see them
Yeah.
improve and learn a little bit. And, like before, because I've mentioned this and we've recommended this before, I am now an expert on blending.
Yes.
We know
I
about
know
blending. Yes.
we know how to apply prosthetics now.
Right. We're great at blending spider
Mhm.
mascara and glossing a lip, which is not lip gloss, but glossing a lip is a lot different. And maybe you picked up on this, maybe you didn't.
Mhm.
What I've noticed now in this season is that, like, makeup isn't just for the particular part of your face that it's for. Like,
Mm.
eyeliner has been, and blush and eyeshadow goes all the way up into the eyebrow now, or maybe up on the forehead. And I mean, that's
Mhm.
not something that I see every day in my life, but I thought, a little bit of color in the eyebrows is kind of fun. So I might do something like that. Like, I'm actually
Mhm.
inspired by this, and I'm not that person. I mean, we all know me. I wear a lot of black and hoodies, and I don't really wear makeup, but this kind of
Mhm.
inspires me a little bit to add a little bit of a,
Ooh,
ooh, me.
that's fun. Yeah, I think I was aware of some of that. I mean, I used to wear a lot of makeup before the pandemic. It just, I don't know, it felt good. Even with, I have a fairly androgynous look.
Mhm.
And even with that, it kind of felt like fun to do as part of like the gender fuckery of it all.
Mm,
Like, why can't I have a very masculine haircut and pretty masculine clothes, but with makeup? Like, why not?
yeah.
Um, and then now that it's like I work remotely, I'm not putting on makeup to go sit on Zoom all day, especially because I like to, like, my morning routine is I like to roll out of bed, do a workout, shower. But some of my workouts, like, my makeup would slide off my face after my
Right.
shower anyway, because I'm still sweating. Because, like, it's super
Right.
cool to be middle-aged. Hot flesh and so I don't do that, but I still appreciate it, and I feel like I kind of get a lot of my makeup fixed by watching all the drag races all the time.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
like, one of the challenges, because for the people that don't know, the structure of a glow up episode is they have a challenge, And then 2 people that do the worst end up in what they call the red chairs, which means they have 15 fewer minutes for kind of the main is it another challenge? What do you call,
Yeah,
like,
it's
the
another, like,
next
competition, challenge, whatever. Yeah, it's a challenge.
right, and then the 2 in the bottom, the 2 who do the worst, end up dealing with the face-off chairs, where they take a set of twins, and each person has to do the same idea
Mhm.
on an identical twin, and I think that's a really clever way of doing it just to see,
Right.
because they're identical,
Mhm.
what is their technique? Do they have the right balance? Are they blending enough? What are they doing? But they had to do the new romantic style blush from the 1980s, which is this like hard line
Mhm.
across the cheekbone, but it goes up into and is blended up into the temples. And it was like, well, I mean, that's not far off from what Candy Muse was doing
Right, I
in
mean, the
All
'80s, I tell you.
Stars. Hmm. Oh, and like a hot pink.
Oh, yeah.
It was beautiful.
It's a great show, it really is.
Hmm.
Like, I love Val, like, I really do love Val,
I do
right?
too.
They
What did
she and Dom have, like, the best chemistry.
They really do. And I think the other thing I love about Val is that she's not afraid to show when she is moved. Neither of them are, but like
Oh,
when
I
she is moved
know.
by makeup, like we've joked before about her ding dong line, but like there are times when she's like you can hear her, she's choked up. You can see
Right.
she's got tears.
Mhm.
And there was even she had to tell one of them like sorry, but you lost, you got to go home, pack up your
Right.
kit. And I think it was only what, 3 or 4 episodes in this season, and you could see it really hurt her to have to send this particular person home.
Well, I will say that, without trying to give anything away, like,
Mhm,
she has one contestant, it's not her favorite contestant, it's just she sees the artistry in this person and wants them to elevate it every week. And you see her struggle when this artist doesn't perform or falls into, the red chairs or something like that. Yeah, she is
mhm,
extremely emotional. I think Val just has a lot of respect for the artistry. The thing is, it's really cool because every episode is about something else. And you get
yes,
to see like the prosthetics, you get to see like space aliens, you get to see any sort
mhm,
of like whatever their challenge is for that week. It's an 8-week thing. So I think there's 8
mhm,
episodes. The good thing about this show is if you don't know a lot about queer people and you really want to see like a
mhm,
show or see something that shows people okay being queer, people who are comfortable like with pronouns, he pronouns and they wear a ton of makeup and style their hair and just
mhm,
see how diverse it is, and there's a lot of we have non-binary contestants. We
yeah,
have we have hers, we have he's and him and they, them.
and
It's
some
great.
he
And you learn.
theys.
Yeah, and he theys. I think there's 2 he theys there. And it's just a good feel good show to introduce you maybe to more queerdom if you're not comfortable or you don't know where to go. I think Glow Up is a really good start to learn things,
I
and
think
it's fun to
too
watch.
it's so fun to watch. I think also something they've been quite good at most of the seasons is racial diversity. And
Yes.
even to a certain extent, body diversity. Like there are fat contestants,
Mhm.
which is really exciting to see in a show like this. And I don't know that you would see if it was produced in the US.
Right, yeah,
Like,
because this is a British show, FYI.
yeah, I was watching it yesterday or the day before, and Neil likes to watch it too. He doesn't
Hmm.
follow the whole thing, but like if I'm
Oh,
watching it, he'll watch some of it. And he was noticing, I think it was Saffron who was up on the screen, or maybe it was one of the others, but he's like, you know what I love about British shows? They have people that just look like people. And it's true.
right,
Like the
right.
contestants are all incredible at makeup, but we also get to see some, Saffron and Rue just look like normal British people.
Yeah, they look like normal people, and yes, agreed.
Yeah.
And the good thing too is that you get to know them. It's not
Hmm.
just about their skills. You get to know like they have,
Yes.
some anxiety. They have, they talk about their issues and
Oh,
and like
that first episode, it was
I know.
Saffron again talking about how so Saffron got a model. So I can't remember what the actual challenge it was, but like the model deals with skin picking like her. And so
Mhm.
she found a way to honor that, but
Without co didn't
also
cover it up, yeah.
yeah, and in a way that, like, the model felt so beautiful, and it
Mhm.
was just oh, that's I mean, I don't think I've ever talked about it on here before, but, like, skin picking is something I've dealt with my whole life too, and so to see it like that and incorporated it in the makeup and not celebrated per se, but also not ashamed,
Right.
oh, I just found it
It's
so beautiful. Like, this show takes all these contestants as they are
Mhm.
and doesn't shame them for anything. Like, Angmei has a panic attack
Mhm.
in one episode, and what we see isn't this, like, you gotta get back in there, but just, like, the love and the care
Mhm.
that she receives. It's such a beautiful show. You want the show about friendship? This is the friendship show.
That's true. It is a beautiful show, and I loved episode 6, and
Me
I know you
too.
did, like,
I think it's fine to say who it is because it's not we don't have to talk about what happens in it, but
Right,
we won't say who the contestants are.
right.
But what I will say is Trixie Mattel is the guest
Mhm.
judge. So very famous from RuPaul's Drag Race, winner of All Stars 3, contestant on season 7, and wonderful.
Yes.
Wonderful. I loved seeing her in this context and the critiques she was doing. But in the first challenge, the makeup artists, or MUAs as they always call them,
Mhm.
were doing makeup on very famous British drag queens
Right.
for like it was for an actual MAC campaign for Viva Glam for Pride Month.
Mhm.
And so for me, it was so exciting to see especially the ones that were on Drag Race UK. So we saw the winner of I can't remember which season, Cheddar Gorgeous. We saw Black Peppa from the most recent season and
Reese's
Victoria Scone,
Pieces, yeah.
who the thing that I thought was so cool about seeing Victoria Scone on there because when she and I'm using the pronoun based on drag, like when I talk about drag performers, I tend to use their drag pronouns.
Mhm.
So when she was on Drag Race, she was talking about being the only bio queen or AFAB queen. But on this show, Victoria Scone came out as non-binary in their real life, which again was just like so cool, showing how identity shifts and changes.
Right.
We all shift and change and grow. So
Mhm.
I fucking love this show. I
I
know this was
know.
your recommendation.
I
I feel like
know.
I should apologize for getting so excited and maybe dominating your
Well,
recommendation.
I knew that when I saw the start of episode 6, I'm like, "Oh my god, here's Tara. She's gonna love this so much. This is gonna be amazing."
I
And I will
did.
say this, so, like, Trixie was hilarious with
Oh,
not
yes.
only Dom and Val, but even with the contestants to make them feel comfortable doing what they were doing, and, like,
Yes.
I think it was it with Rue? Like, back and
Mhm.
forth, they had a hilarious back and forth.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
so good.
yeah,
I
so
think actually, Chris, for you,
uh-huh.
something else you might like with Trixie Mattel that's, like, really accessible because some of she does so many things and, like, so many things online, but, like, if I was gonna say if you wanted to check out one thing with her and this was the thing that hooked Neil as well, is on YouTube, she does, like, a Netflix movie/TV show recap,
We watched it. You
series.
told me to watch it, right? Was it
Yeah.
what did we watch it?
It's
We
called I like to watch which one did I give it to you for?
Yeah. Oh, it was
Well, they've
one of the dating shows. It was one of the dating shows. Was it
it
the Queer Ultimate? No, what was
yes,
it?
yes,
Was
yes,
it
yes,
Yes.
yes. It was The Ultimatum, Queer Love, but they do it for tons of stuff, including,
Right.
like, former glow up ones, which I think is how she found out about Cody, I forget his last name, but they brought him on. You know, the guy with that iconic insane blue eyeshadow look where, like, he would, like, look at the camera and there'd just
Oh,
be this,
yeah.
like, um, they're all great, and, like, there are
Mhm.
certain shows that I don't really wanna watch the show, so I'll just watch her recap with Katya on there because it's equally funny, very shady, but then there are certain shows like the what's that one on Netflix? I think it's like How to Be a Cult Leader
Hmm. That sounds
or
familiar.
something like that, yeah, so it's we didn't love the show, there was some, like, good new information, but it was just weird. It had this whole framing of, "So you wanna be a cult leader? Let's talk about this is the playbook," and it's, like, all framed in the cult leader
Oh,
playbook, and Peter Dinklage is the one who's, like, doing the narration for all of that. So, I think Neil was like, "Let's just watch, like, an episode a day," and I said, "No, let's just pound through this whole thing. We're gonna watch it as quickly as possible, and then we're gonna watch Trixie and Katya talk about it,"
Oh, nice,
which is
yeah.
also a great way to go with certain things. Like, it's a beautiful payoff to see their reactions.
I bet.
So, yeah, if you like her, do that.
Oh, for
Maybe
sure.
don't do
That
her
was a great
show,
episode. I recommend it to everybody, literally, anybody can watch this, it's all ages, I
wait,
think. Oh,
you know
what?
what we forgot to talk about? Okay, there was
What?
one episode I hated.
Oh, which one did you hate?
Do you wanna guess?
Let me think about it. Adidas? No, which one?
Yes!
Ja!
Oh my god. Okay, so they did an episode that already it's only just hit Netflix. Like, I texted Kris and I was like, "Holy shit, there's a new glow up." And so that was
Boom.
what, like 4 days ago or
Right.
something?
I was on it.
And already that episode looks old and aged out and dumb because the first challenge is coming up with makeup concepts that will then be digitized
Oh, yeah.
for Adidas for their fashion week in the
The metaverse.
metaverse. And so they had I actually looked up this particular person who works for Adidas, and she's
Mhm.
had a very interesting career.
Hmm.
But she is part of their like, she kind of owns their whole digital Web3 strategy. And so she's all over like NFTs,
Right.
blockchain, that type of stuff, which like NFTs have been proven to be bullshit. Like it's all kind of unraveled. Crypto is on fire. Like
Right. Dumpster
most of
fire.
the Web3 thing has been shown to be, run by con people. And her last couple of roles, or even kind of current, because she's consulting for Salesforce, are in this world. But then before that, she was like running like global brand marketing and whatever for these huge companies. Like she's worked for Google and was it PayPal? It doesn't matter. But it was to me, it was so cringy.
Yeah, that was a rough one.
Seeing that stuff, I was like, ugh. So if you also cringe at Web3 things, at NFTs and the like, maybe just like skip ahead to the end
Right, to the end. Yeah, but
just
I
to
mean,
see who is cut loose. That was also the episode where somebody acted like the biggest brat I've ever seen in the
that's true.
history of this entire series.
Right. I will say that I was happy. Like, I
Mm,
think that up until that point, everything was perfect, and then,
mm,
like, that episode caused somebody's not true colors to show, but just, like, their, like, inner
ego,
ego to show.
big time.
And, yeah, so but other than that, yeah, no, I think it's a show for anyone. It's a show for, like I said, all ages. There's certainly nothing inappropriate. I think it's great. Like, learn about your queerness, learn about others, learn
Mhm.
better pronouns and how anybody can use pronouns and learn them quickly. That's one thing I hear all the time, especially with my older friends. If
Mhm.
I correct them with like they,
Yeah.
he, whatever, and oh, it's fine. I'm like, no, it's really not. Like it's not that hard. It's not that hard. And I think,
Mhm.
even in this to see Val, she like talks like it's no big deal. Like she knows all the
Yeah.
pronouns, it's not a problem. So I feel like pronouns are a big issue in today's topics. And a lot of people are like, I don't need to do that. I just, they know I don't mean anything by it. It's super easy to, it's so easy to learn. Anybody can learn.
Mhm. And
Even
even
a
people say, "I don't believe in pronouns." And it's like,
ugh,
tell me you don't know what a pronoun is
right.
without
Right.
telling me you don't
I
know what
don't
a
know.
pronoun is because you absolutely use them all the time. If you
Right.
say he, she, they, I, like if you're saying all of these things in your everyday speech, you do believe in pronouns. You
Right.
don't believe in honoring somebody's declared identity.
Oh, I think somebody used the example of God, and said she.
Yeah,
And then somebody corrected them and like, see, you do care about pronouns. You know the
that's right.
importance of pronouns. But yeah, I think it's a great show, and I'm super excited that it was on. I'm glad you found it, and ding
Me
dong, it was
too.
great. Thank you.
Ding dong.
Yeah, ding dong. So, Tara, what is your official recommendation this week?
Okay, so my official recommendation this week is it's an indie video game. It's called Goodbye Volcano High. It is not available on the Switch, so I played it
Mm,
on our PS5. I think it's on Steam. You know what? Like, just go look. If you're a gamer, just go look it up. You'll find it. Or we can put it in the show notes. And it was one that Neil said, I think you should check this out. And then I watched the trailer and I was like, okay, it looks all right. And some people have called it a visual novel. That doesn't feel quite true to me, only because the animation style and the voice acting, like it actually felt like a TV show. It was one of the few video games where, like, usually, even with visual novels, I will like speed through the dialogue because I'm reading it, but like I can read faster
mhm.
than kind of their pace. And so I'll speed ahead and I didn't. So I felt like I was watching a TV show, but occasionally I had to like make choices about the dialogue or I had to play a mini game or something like that. So it's about a you get to play as Fang in Fang's last year of high school, but it's this group of teenagers and actually kind of the world that's faced with an existential threat because they heard that a meteor is coming and what are they going to do? And it turns out though that these teenagers are all dinosaurs. This is all dinosaur people and the meteor is coming to Pangea. And it's going to sound stupid when I say it like that, but it's actually a really profound game.
Hmm,
And it's actually a really, really beautiful story. Like, if you care about story and excellent writing, this is it. This is where it's at. And you don't have to be a great gamer to play it. So, like I said, Fang is the main character. That's who you play as. You don't get to choose who your character is, nor do you get to customize it. Fang is non binary. They went through a major wardrobe and hair change. So, like last year, they had kind of bright red hair, which seems to be their natural. They show up in like all back black clothes, silver hair, kind of more of a goth style. Fang is in a band. And what Fang wants more than anything else in the world is to win Battle of the Bands. They've never been able to get in before because all their demos weren't seen as good enough. They have a chance now. And so their band Worm Drama, if they win Battle of the Bands, will actually get to be like successful and just like tour and be able to be a band full time. Except that may not be what the rest of the band wants. Yes, Kris has her hand up. Kris in the back of the classroom.
So, my question is, what kind of dinosaurs? Like, I mean,
All
a
kinds.
T-Rex can't really play, like,
I don't think there
the
was a T-Rex.
drums. A
Here's where I don't
Brontosaurus can fit in a
so
garage.
I think Fang is a pterodactyl and
Okay.
Fang's best friend Trish is a triceratops. It's just this like little guy. I don't know enough dinosaur names. There are no T-Rexes that
I
I
know
don't
all the dinosaurs,
think.
so this
See,
is what I'm intrigued with, like, out of
this
all
should
the
be
things you're
easier if you
talking about.
um
I gotta
but
know.
like Fang's brother is not a pterodactyl and I don't
Hmm,
know if their parents are. I don't really get how it works and I just ended up not really worrying about it the
okay. That's
most.
true, I guess.
um but yeah, it was really interesting because it's basically it looks like our world. It is like our world. There is a school, there is a coffee
Mm,
shop. They're wearing clothes like, we would wear. It feels very like people, but there was a choice made to make them dinosaurs and say, what if we took the threat of the meteor coming? Because there was a meteor that like ended kind of the age of dinosaurs and if anybody is like super big on the science for this, just please forgive and don't send me an email about it because I don't know a lot about that. But they see the TV news and they're watching and there's this like, well, we don't know for sure if it's going to hit Plangea. Well,
mm,
maybe it will. And now it's gonna and so there's this constant like, well, are we gonna live? And there's this, if we're all gonna die, what actually really matters? Is kind of at the heart of it. And so it's also interesting because as it goes along, Fang starts getting these texts from a stranger, and it's a secret admirer who's like, I've been too shy to tell you, but I've been into you for a long time. And so they start up kind of this like texting correspondence. And so, like, maybe Fang is also going to fall in love at the end of the world. We
Mm.
don't know. And so if I had to describe this game in one word, I think it would be poignant because it is really beautiful. But there is this, well, is the meteor coming? Is this our last, like, yes, it's our last year of high school, but is this our last year of being together? Is it our
Mm.
last year of being alive? And so I think it was a really smart choice to set it in the last year of high school for this group of friends, because that always represents an ending anyway, right?
Right.
Like, no matter what you do after high school, your life is profoundly different than it was when you were in it, whether you go to
Right.
college or university or you go into the working world. And so it worked really well thematically with this. Okay, we know this one thing is going to end. What else is going to end? And so, like Fang feels really lonely and misunderstood. Trish is their best friend, but Trish isn't around that often and isn't really making time for Fang. They have to babysit their siblings a lot. They went to like a bug camp. They're really into entomology. So they were away for the whole summer and came back with a friend they made there named Rosa, who, like, Rosa is the loveliest. I thought Trish and Rosa were like maybe in a relationship, but it sounds like maybe it's just Trish's new best friend or something. I feel like that was maybe a little bit of a, you know us, we love love, we love to see people get together. So I'm just like,
Right.
put them together. It's already a queer game, but like, put them together. And Fang's friends all play L&L, which is like Dungeons and Dragons, but without having to license the Dungeons and Dragons name. It stands for Legends and Lore. And
Okay.
as a D&D player, I actually really loved what happened with that and how it was used as another place to channel some of this existential angst. I thought there were some really clever choices there. But like, again, talking about the feeling lonely and misunderstood, Fang's parents are still dead naming them,
Mhm.
which we do see. And they don't get along super well with their brother, who's like the class president. He's younger than
Oh.
Fang, but like, he's respected and popular and all this. And also Fang isn't planning on applying to college because, Worm Drama has a chance. We're going to get to the Battle of the Bands and we're going to win. And then who needs college when we could be a successful band? But you see Trish signing up for college
Oh.
because she wants to go study entomology. And then Reed is the other member of the band, their other best friend, who's like, I don't really know what I'm gonna do. And then of course there's like a fucking meteor. So like if we're talking about poignant, like again, like literally, are they all gonna die? And so I think the thing where it feels the most clever is that it's a metaphor for what we're all sort of going through. And I think like the meteor thing feels not unlike what we're going through with the climate disaster,
Mhm. Mhm.
because we don't know what's going to happen. And we do know that in some countries, like, people are literally dying because of flooding, because of
Right.
fires, because of earthquakes and the like. And it's been happening for years and it's only getting worse. And I mean, if you want to talk about queer people, like, it feels like I have a lot of existential angst as a queer person because of the rising fascism and the way, sure, it's just well, it's not just in the US. I mean, it's happening in Hungary and and Russia and other countries too, where like there's legislation against queer people. And, some people say, hey, it's better in Canada. And it's like, yeah, it's better in Canada right now,
Right.
like right now. But the person who's heading up the Conservative Party is highly aligned with the fascists in these other countries. And so, like, seeing that, and I don't think it's a coincidence that like it's a developer out of Montreal. It's a little
Mhm.
studio that put this out. So it was nice to see them work through their feelings and their challenges and how are they going to pull through it. But then, it's broken up with there are mini games kind of here and there. There's a rhythm game aspect to it because Fang is a musician, and so there's like different things you do with the buttons so that you're playing, quote unquote, you're playing the music. This, oh my God, Chris, is you're all
I'm
about
ready.
music, right?
I am.
The soundtrack is really good, actually. Like they worked with some artists to like come up with original music for the game. And so it feels like very indie Lilith Fair-esque
Nice.
dreamy kind of music. It's on Spotify. I don't imagine you're gonna play the game, but, like, if you wanted to check out the music and you look up "Goodbye Volcano High" on Spotify, you can even just listen to that. Because
I
as I was
will.
playing, like, Neil and I would occasionally turn to each other like, "Holy shit, the music is actually, like, really good." Like, I think I'm gonna listen to it more. And I also love that with the dialogue options because, again, senior year of high school, high drama times anyway, there are dialogue options that lets Fang be messy and mean and say
Mm,
things that maybe she wouldn't have necessarily wanted to say. And so I think the one thing I'll say, the one I think kind of blessing and the curse of the dialogue options, if I could go back and change one thing, because at first I was choosing messy and then I was like, this doesn't feel good. I think Fang's just going to be nice from here on out. And Fang was nice. And I don't think it's going to be a surprise because I've talked about how what Fang wants versus what Fang's friends want
right.
is a little different. So, of course, a confrontation has to happen at some point. But because I chose mostly nice dialogue options, the confrontation almost feels out of nowhere. And so I think it comes across almost like Fang has these blinders because me as the player, I could see Trish is doing these other things and Reed is also applying for college. These other people are doing these other things. But Fang is like, this comes out of nowhere. And Trish, especially, like when they go and have their own conversation, because I chose only the nice options, it feels like Trish is gaslighting Fang a little bit.
Mhm.
So I'm going to say for anybody who picks this up, lean into the mess. I kind of wish I had done that. I think I'm going to replay it and do it that way just to see what happens. Cause I suspect that if you play it that way with Fang as like more focused, it makes the rest of the game just make so much more sense and makes it better. But like I sat down I sat down last Sunday and I don't think I got off my couch for 4 or 5 hours,
Wow.
except to
Sounds
pee.
like me.
I did get up to pee. Yeah, and then I finished it yesterday, because I almost started it Friday night, and I was like, "No, I know how I am with this game. I need to." So, get the game. It's really good. Give yourself, like, large chunks of time because you're not going to want to pause, and it's just yeah, it's a really lovely, wonderful game out of a small indie studio, and I think it's small. Anyway, if maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But anyway, out of an indie studio, music is great, character work is great. Feels like an anime
Mm,
about dinosaurs and I really love this one. I think there's something really special about it and I hope a lot of people pick it up and support it.
that's sweet.
So, that's all for this episode. Thank you. Thank you to everybody who listened. If you've enjoyed the show and you haven't subscribed yet, you know, we tell you this every time. Please make sure you subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. You'll get notified when we release an episode. If you have a friend that you think would like the show, please tell them all about it. Or if you'd like to support us, we have links in our show notes to our coffee and our newsletter sign up. If you like the newsletter, send that to a friend also. I had a coworker, sorry, it was one of my former bosses. It's funny, every so often I complain on here about like so much goes in the newsletter, but I don't hear anything. And who I do hear from is like real life friends and coworkers who I didn't even know signed up. So like a
Oh, that's
former
cool.
colleague, yeah, she texted me. She's like, your newsletter was so good today. And I was like, wow, thank you. And we got an email from one of my former bosses who has a queer kiddo, I think a trans teenager, who said that she shares some of the links with their kid and just really appreciates it. So, yeah, share the newsletter with other people in your life that you think might need some of the things that we share in there.
Yes. Or if you want to connect with us on your favorite social media sites, we have links in the show notes for that as well. Or you can just search for Curly Recommended on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and the other place. Or email us at podcast@curlyrecommended.com. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye. Hey everyone, Welcome to Queerly Recommended, the podcast where we recommend queer books, films, TV shows, and more. I'm Tara Scott, and I review sapphic fiction at the Lesbian Review and Smart Bitches Trashy Books. Kris is laughing right now because I had those points in the wrong order in the outline, and I tripped myself up, but we're going to just keep moving. This week, I'm recommending a documentary. No, I'm not. Jesus Christ. I'm starting this whole thing over again. That was a lie. This can go.
Oh
This can be an outtake.
Yes.
Wow, I could not have done a better
That's
job
why I was
of
laughing
setting it
because I
up
read
for
ahead. I'm like,
maximum
none of this is
confusion.
right.
I was doing pretty well, mostly.
Oh, there you go. Because I was like, what? I thought it was a video game.
It is a video game. That was the part where it fell apart. I was like, I was even enjoying the way I was leaning in on the.
Yeah, you're like, we're just gonna keep going. It's okay. Nope.
Well, because it felt
It's
right.
not
Like
okay.
the vibe felt good, and it felt funny to call myself out. And then, anyway,
All right.
let's do that again.